It's a very well-meaning philosophy. I totally understand where supervisors are coming from. Unfortunately, this philosophy is sabotaging your supervisor's success and diminishing your impact as a team leader. Welcome to the Provider Power Moves podcast. I'm your host, Sara Sherman. Here, I leverage my 35 years of experience in the field to give you practical steps that create big results in your agency and in your workday. It usually happens at the end of a frontline supervisor training. Someone pops into the chat or proudly strolls up to me and says, "I don't ask my staff to do anything I don't do myself." As gently as I can, I have to say, that might not be the best approach. Faces fall. I'm sorry, I say. If I didn't say something here, I'm really not serving you. Here's where this idea of not asking anyone to do anything that you don't do yourself comes from. And there's many sources. See if any of these resonate with you. We have been abandoned. The people in our lives who were supposed to help us and support us simply didn't. We were left alone to struggle and figure things out, at home, at work, or both. And we know what that feels like. Hint here, bad. It feels bad. And our response to this trauma is to make sure no one else feels that pain, at least no one within our circle of control. And that is noble, kind, and loving. Not so effective, but noble, kind, and loving. We view being a good boss as pitching in, leading, by being willing to get your hands dirty. We did that job. We experienced an internal promotion because we were good at the job. The work is familiar to us. It feels comfortable. And sometimes we think it's just faster or easier if we take care of things ourselves. This is our first management role, and we don't want to be seen as, quote, above getting our hands dirty. The team we are managing, they were our coworkers, and we know what they said about the boss, and we don't want them to say those things about us. We've had crappy hands-off bosses, and quite frankly, they sucked. We saw and felt the burden of having an ineffective boss, and we don't want to behave like that. We're disgusted by even the idea that we could become like them. We don't know what else to do. We want to be productive, a team player, but we didn't get very good supervisor training. We want to be busy, or at least not look unbusy, so we default to what we know and what we see needs to be done. Hopefully, we'll figure out what else we're supposed to be doing. Our team demands that we help them do their jobs. They snarl and complain that they have too much to do, and they accuse us of being lazy, thinking we are so fancy now. And we feel pulled in to help because we feel bad for them, are concerned they aren't going to follow our instructions, and that will hurt the individuals we support, and that will reflect badly on us. And we might even lose our position because of that, along with the increased income. And we really need the money. We don't know what else to do. The staff aren't doing the work. There's no support from above, and it has to be done. So in we go. We want to be a team player, and we don't know any other way to show we are a team player. Staff are grateful for the help, and that feels great to us. Or maybe they're just less mean, and that feels great to us too. I get all of this. I get the philosophy. I once held this philosophy myself, and for all of these reasons. Then I hit a snag. I wasn't getting my work done. Staff came to expect that I would pick up at least a portion of their tasks regularly. They began to treat me poorly, demanding I do more and more for them, following directions less, talking about me behind my back, rolling their eyes when I gave instruction. I was exhausted, confused, and not really seen as a leader. Think about it. If something goes wrong on the computer soldering line, would you expect Bill Gates to run down to the line, don a welding cap, and start melting parts together? If the Amazon website crashed, would you expect Jeff Bezos to log in and start coding? No. Of course not. Because it's not their job to do these tasks. It's their job to see that these tasks are done. If these guys leave their leader perch to slide into a frontline staff role, our first thought is, who's manning the ship? And our second thought is, wow, these guys are not good managers because they're trying to fix everything themselves, which is not sustainable. And even if they effectively fill that role that they've picked up, they can only fill one role at a time. Great risk, small benefit. We don't even expect the frontline supervisors of these tasks to jump in and start doing this work. We expect them to effectively coordinate the team to get the work done. And why? Same reason as with the CEO. If the supervisor drops down the TO, table of organization, into a frontline staff slot, they can no longer see what the team is doing. They aren't available to support any of their other team members, to ward off missteps, to confirm work is being done correctly and on time anywhere in the organization. They are locked in to that position. I teach frontline supervisors to stay in their metaphorical fire tower. You know, that big tower over the forest that rangers sit in, continually scanning for danger. When the ranger comes down from that tower to deal with things on the ground, the entire forest is at risk. The ranger needs to spot trouble, drop down and deal with it, and then scramble back up the tower. And we all understand this. Frontline supervision is exactly the same. A supervisor needs that 30,000-foot view, so to speak. And if they come down from the tower unnecessarily or for too long, the entire team and the individuals served are at risk. While a supervisor is indeed part of the team, being a supervisor is being part of the team. Their role is different. They are the coach. And the coach does not run the ball. The coach does all the prep work. The coach sits on the sidelines and encourages and gives instruction. But we all recognize that if the coach is on the field, nobody is the coach. And we all recognize the coach is very, very, very important. Now, there are two real-life exceptions to this. If there's an emergency, the supervisor absolutely jumps in. Both Gates and Bezos would be grabbing buckets if their companies were on fire, either literally or metaphorically. In true emergency situations, it's all hands on deck. And number two is if a supervisor is filling a scheduled shift. Of course, in that case, they will be doing frontline work because for that period of time, they are a frontline worker. And if you supervise supervisors and your supervisor has dropped into a frontline position, they are no longer in the fire tower. You are. Or you must assign it to someone else. You will have to drop down into the oversight role or make sure the oversight role is filled because your supervisor is no longer a forest ranger. They are a tree in the forest, and they do not have the ability to see what is happening at that 30,000-foot level anymore. Expecting them to be a tree and in the fire tower at the same time is a recipe for disaster. They won't be successful, everyone will be mad at each other, and who knows what will happen in that period of great risk when nobody is watching the forest. Not asking people to do things that you wouldn't do yourself sounds like a noble pursuit. In reality, it undermines your leadership and puts your entire team at risk. Instead, support your team to be able to do the work, advocate that their needs be met, be very concrete and clear about what you see and what the resolutions are to the problems that you see. Dropping down to do the work is simply a Band-Aid when it works well. It's not a sustainable long-term solution. What's your experience? As always, I would love to hear your thoughts. Leave me a comment or shoot me an email. And do you have a question that I could answer on a podcast? Let me know. Send your questions to Sara, S-A-R-A, at providerpowermoves.com. That's Sara at providerpowermoves.com. Until next time, power on.